Hello, dear students, and good evening to everyone. I hope all of you are enjoying this premiere of videos. While premiering these videos, I am there to reply to your queries and questions that you are having doubt. Please watch the video like this only so that whatever doubt you are having, you can ask me immediately at that time only. Okay? Since we are having our quiz also, okay, MCQs we are having, and we will also have our half yearly, so it is very important for you all to watch each and every chapter properly and read your book and go through the lessons. So students, today I am going to start the second part of that same chapter of geography, that is chapter number 6, major crops and case studies. Okay, I am providing you the second part and this is the last part. Now, as in the previous part, we have learned about some of the major crops, like we have learned about the food crops, beverage crops, okay? And in this part, we are going to learn about some of the fiber crops, and we will also learn case studies. Now, what is case study? Whenever we compare, okay, two things together, okay, that is only the case study. So, in this, we are going to learn about the case study of Ladakh and Netherlands. Okay, so let's start with the two left major crops of India, or the first, that is fiber crops. Okay, now what are the fiber crops, students? So in India, basically there are some natural fibers. You all have learned about fibers in science in class 6 also and in class 7th also. What are fibers? So if I'll give you some example of the fiber, that is cotton, jute, hemp and flax. Okay, hemp and flax are also the fibers, and natural silk is also the fiber from that we use to make clothes. Okay, and various materials like many other materials are also made up of these fiber crops. Now basically you are familiar about cotton, jute, maybe you are not knowing about hemp and flax, that I will explain you. So this cotton, jute, hemp and flax and natural silk are 5 major natural fibers that are grown in India. Now students, if I will talk about cotton, jute, hemp and flax, what? Cotton, jute, hemp and flax, these are the fibers that we get from the crops, that we get from the plant. And natural silk, as we are knowing that in the previous part we have learned about sericulture. Okay, for this we have to rear for this we have to rear silkworms, and with that only we used to get their cocoons only give us silk threads. Okay, so silk is only that we get from animal or insect, but this one other we get from plant only. Okay, now cotton, jute, flax and hemp are derived from the crops grown in soil. Silk is obtained from cocoons of silkworm fed on the green leaves, especially mulberry. You all are knowing that cocoons live especially on mulberry tree. Now let's see. As you can see, this is the cotton plant. Okay, this one is the jute plant. Okay, the second picture is of jute plant, and this is the jute, like this only the jute leaves look like. Okay, the first picture is of cotton, the second one is jute, like its stem is only used, okay, for making the fibers. Now it's the leaves of jute looks like this. Now let's see the next example. Students, this is flax. Okay, these are the flax, and look at the flowers of the flax, like this only the flax flowers looks like. The next picture I am going to show you, these are the hemp. Okay, these are the hemp, and as you can see in the picture, the leaves of hemp look like this. So this is what about, there are 3 types of fibers that we get from the plant only. Cotton also we can take. So jute, hemp and flax. Okay, now next we are going to learn about for jute. In this chapter we will only learn about cotton and jute. So let's start with jute. All of you are very well familiar about jute. These are the green plants of jute, and as you can see, these are the threads of fibers that are made up of jute. Now if we are learning more about jute, jute is a tall reed-like plant and an important vegetable fiber. Now what is reed-like plant? The student, reed means tall grass. Okay, it is a tall plant, grassy plant only. Its stem is green, and that is why it is known as vegetable fiber. Okay, As you can see in the picture, it is fiber. It is one of the cheapest and strongest natural fiber. If we'll talk about cheapest, so students, it is that cheap, but nowadays, since people create lots of creativity and now people started making lots of goods from jute, like decorative items or very unique things that are made up of hand, that is handicraft. So that is why those things are a little bit expensive, otherwise jute is cost effective. Okay, now let's that is why it is also known as the golden fiber. Jute is also known as the golden fiber because its color is also bit golden. Okay, now it is used for making ropes, sacks means the packaging in which you used to pack grains, bags, rugs, carpet, etc. Now let's see the next one. Now we are going to learn about conditions for the growth. Okay, what are the ideal conditions for the growth of jute that we will see? So first of all, which type of soil? Well drained alluvial or loamy soil. Which soil is suitable for the cultivation of jute? That is well drained alluvial or loamy soil. Because students, mostly this type of plant grow better near rivers. Okay, that is why it is written alluvial soil. Now which type of land? Flat, plain and deltaic land. As I have explained you that these type of plants usually grow near the rivers, so that is why deltaic region is necessary. And which type of area? Flat plains are good for cultivation of jute. If we'll talk about temperature, the temperature, it needs hot climate with 24 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, so it needs a hot climate with basic average temperature. Okay. Next, what amount of rainfall? It needs more than 150 centimeter of rainfall. Next, we are going to learn about the next one. As you can see, the area of production. Now we will see what is the area of production of this crop. If we will talk about world, so India is the largest producer of jute. Okay, India is the largest producer of jute. And if we will talk about Thailand, Brazil and China, so students, there is one crop. Like in history, we have learned about woad, that woad is the substitute plant of indigo. Okay, like that only the countries like Thailand, Brazil and China used to use kenaf. As you can see in the picture, kenaf is also tall grass like plant that is not jute, it is kenaf. Okay, so the question can arise that what is the substitute of kenaf in different country, substitute of jute in different country? So you will say kenaf. Kenaf also just looks like jute and it is also a fiber plant in other countries. Now if we will talk about India, so West Bengal is the leading producer of jute. Okay, in West Bengal jute grows better. Ganga Brahmaputra basin, as why in West Bengal jute grows better? Because that is the deltaic region, that Ganga Brahmaputra basin near the West Bengal only. Bihar, Odisha, Tripura and Meghalaya, the places that receive good rainfall, their jute can grow better. Okay, now let's see the next one. As you can see the picture, the first one is the decorative items, the next one in which wheat is kept, that is sack, ropes, rugs, bags, carpets are basically manufactured with the help of jute. Okay, now let's see the next plant, that is cotton. So students, as you can see in the picture, these are the cotton plants, these are the small cotton plants. Okay, and next we are going to learn about cotton, as we are knowing that cotton is the most basic textile of India, for the manufacturing of textile raw material of India. And you are already familiar that the cotton of India attracts several traders from different countries also. We are learning from this starting only that cotton and spices of India are very famous throughout the world. So cotton is a very important fiber crop as it is the basic raw material for cotton textile industry. The clothes also that we wear, that is made up of cotton only. It has three major staple. Now if I'll say about staple, in the previous part I have explained you that a staple means chief or important. Here the word staple means length. Okay, so cotton also comes in various varieties. Okay, long, medium and short. As you can see in the picture, this is cotton, and as you can see the length of the cotton also varies according to the fertility of the soil or the area where the cotton is being produced. Okay, so this is all about cotton. The next we will learn about what is the conditions for the growth of cotton. ठीक है, what are the conditions for the growth of cotton? So first of all, as we are very well familiar that cotton grows better in black soil, okay, but it can also grow in loamy soil. So well drained loamy soil and black soil. Land, which type of land? Flat and undulating land. In the previous part only I have explained you about what is undulating land. The land that is like wave like structure, okay, it is not fully flat, it has wave like structure, little bit hilltop and like this. ठीक है. Now what is the temperature here? High temperature it needs of 27 degrees Celsius approximately. If we will talk about the rainfall, so just listen here. Rainfall it needs more than 50 to 100 centimeter, okay, but days it needs 210 frost free days. It is written here 200, but more than 200 it needs frost free days, because if frost और कहीं से भी अगर snowfall होती है तो the cotton will destroy. So and bright sunshine also for good growth. Here you are able to see the green plants na, but cottons usually we used to see brown plants of cotton. That means that plant started ripening, okay, and then it gives beautiful cotton flowers. So that is only it needs bright sunshine, okay, for the ripening of the cotton plant. Now let's see the next one. Now we are going to learn about area of production, okay. So if we will talk about world, in world India is only the leading producer of cotton. Next the US, China, Uzbekistan and Ukraine. These are the leading producers or main producers of cotton. Pakistan, Egypt, Turkey, Brazil, Mexico and Argentina also grows cotton. Now if we'll talk about India, so Deccan Plateau, Maharashtra and Gujarat is the leading producer. If we'll talk about Maharashtra and Gujarat, both the states give good production of cotton, okay, but Gujarat is the leading producer this time. Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, that also grows little cotton. So this is all about two crops were only left, that is cotton and jute, that I have explained you. I have also shown you the pictures. Now let's see the next topic. Next topic is agricultural development in India. Now students, if I will talk about the agricultural development in India, so as we are knowing that India is an agricultural country, okay, agriculture is the backbone of the Indian economy, because approximately 50% of the population of India depends upon agriculture. Nearly 2/3 of its population depends directly on agriculture for its livelihood. Okay, now why agriculture is important? Agriculture do not only give livelihood to the people, okay, let's see what are the why agriculture is important. Because it also give food requirements of a large population. We used to grow lots of food grains on the fields which fulfill the requirement of the large population of India, okay. As well as agriculture also produces several raw materials for the various industries that worked. That means we grow various raw materials on our farms, on the Indian farms, that helps in the functioning of the agro-based industries. What are agro-based industries? The industries that are dependent on agriculture. Not only this much, there are some crops that are only grown in India, okay, like India is a good producer of sugarcane, India is a good producer of rice as well as cotton, millet, okay. So all these are export from the agriculture sector. This helped in the economy of India also, okay. By selling our agricultural products to different countries, we get valuable foreign exchange also. So that is why it is very important to work in the agricultural field of India. So in this topic, we are only going to learn about agricultural development in India. Let's see the topics. As India is considered one of the fastest developing economies of the world, an agricultural sector has always added to its growth. Okay, agriculture plays an important role in India for increasing its economy. Agriculture and other related, that is primary activities, fishing, agriculture, okay, mining, all these approximately contribute 50% of our economy. Hence, it is considered as one of the prime occupations in India. As we all say that India, the main occupation of India is agriculture. I hope it is clear to everyone. Now let's see the next one. India has always been the largest producer of milk also, of spices also, cotton also, millet also, and there are many more food crops worldwide. It also has a large production of grains, tremendously adding to the exports. Okay, that is why it is very important to focus on the development of Indian agriculture. Now let's see the next one. Now what are the problems of Indian agriculture that we will see? So students, as we are knowing that agriculture is the backbone of Indian economy, but after that also several problems are there that hinders the Indian agricultural production. That means people of India or the farmers of India face lots of problems due to which the Indian agricultural production is not that up to mark. So in this topic we are going to see that what are the basic problems that Indian agriculture faces. The first one is inequality in land distribution. Okay, as we are learning from the starting only that there are some people, we have learned about middle farmer, big farmer, small farmers. There are, we have learned about zamindars in history. So there are some people, those who are having large areas of land, as well as there are some type of people also, those who are not having any land. Okay, so in India there is unequal distribution of land because there are some people, those who are having large land holdings, but as well as there are some people, those who are having no land. Okay, so that is also the reason for the problems or for the less production in Indian agriculture. As well as if I will talk about, so it is also that there has been a considerable degree of concentration of land holding among the rich landlords, farmers and money lenders throughout the country. The vast majority of small farmers own a very small and uneconomic size of land, resulting in higher cost per unit. Now, if I will explain you one thing, so in India, we follow a custom or there is a provision that the property of father, if suppose that there is father and he has two sons, okay, so the property of father will be divided into both the son. So now the land father has large land holding and it get divided into two. Again those son also have son and they will also divide the land among themselves. So what will happen? The size of the land holding is continuously decreasing due to the transfer of land to hereditary conditions. So this is also the problem that is faced by Indian agriculture because land holdings became small and small year by year. The land tenure system, we will see the land tenure system practiced in India has been suffering from a lot of defects. Insecurity in tenancy was a big problem for the tenants, particularly during the pre-independence period, which still prevails to some extent due to the presence of absentee landlords. So students, as we were learning in history about this also, that the large landowners tenancy problem, there are some farmers, those who grow crops on others field and they give rent for it. Okay, tenancy, the people those who pay rent for the field. So that are also some problems, that the rate of the rent is very high. So all these are also the problems that are faced by Indian agriculture. Let's see the next problem: poor farming techniques and agricultural practices. In India, there is still a very strong need for introducing new agricultural techniques, new way of doing farming, as well as new equipments or new agricultural tools. In India, there are small farmers are still practicing their hands. They are using their labor only for growing crops on fields. So it is very important to provide them efficient methods of or techniques of agricultural practices. Inadequate use of inputs. Now there are some problems like people are not getting HYV seed, that means high yielding seeds. There are some they used to, because they are not having that much money, so they use regular seeds only that do not give that much production. There are some people, those who are not able to afford artificial irrigations. Okay, so in the times of less rainfall, their crops get destroyed. Okay, there are many reasons. Sometimes the farms of the farmers get destroyed due to insects or pests, so they are not having that much money to put insecticides, pesticides or fertilizers in the field. So this is also the reason that Indian agricultural production faces inadequate irrigation facility. It is that only, if the places that are not having that much rivers nearby, or that is not getting that much rainfall, so those areas suffer due to inadequate irrigation facilities. Now next is absence of crop rotation. Now there are some places in India where farmers usually do not follow any crop rotation, as we have learned that crop rotation plays an important role for controlling the soil erosion as well as for maintaining the fertility of the soil. Okay. Now next is lack of organized agricultural marketing. Students, there is problem with the farmers, because the farmers, those who are able to produce more, okay, they need some storage facilities. Okay, they need some storage facilities also to store their grains, but there are inadequate measures for storing the grains, as well as the market policies are also not get that good, because in India the farmers are the one, those who suffered the more, but whole Indian economy depends upon those farmers. If those farmers are not able to grow, if those farmers will not grow, how we will fulfill our needs? Okay, so that is very important that a regular or regulated marketing system should be there, so that the farmers at least get that much price for their crops that they are putting. Okay, now agriculture in depthness, as I have explained you, there are several times when the crops of the farmers get destroyed, they are not able to produce that much good. So in those situations, since there are some small farmers, those who are not that rich, and sometimes for some family functions, for marrying their daughter, for some health issue, they have to take loan from the money lenders. Okay, now those money lenders levied high taxes or high interest rate over those loans, and that is why the farmers get in debt, and they continuously intermingled in the debt cycle. And there are some situations when the Indian farmers are forced to commit suicide due to their loss in the agricultural production. Okay, so these all are the reasons that people face, or the Indian agricultural system faces. Now, if we will talk about agricultural development, so students, whatever provisions or whatever methods or efforts that the government or the people take, okay, to improve the agriculture, that is known as agricultural development. That means whatever you are putting effort for increasing the agricultural production, that is agricultural development. Agricultural development refers to efforts made to increase farm production in order to meet the growing demand of increasing population. This can be achieved in many ways, such as increasing the cropped area, the number of crops grown, improving irrigation facilities, use of fertilizers, as well as high yielding variety of seeds, that is HYV seeds. Mechanization of agriculture is also another aspect of agricultural development. The ultimate aim of agricultural development is to increase food security, to increase the food production, so that we can fulfill the need of the growing or increasing population. Now let's see. Now we are going to learn about some of the agrarian reforms. Now students, what is agrarian reform? Agrarian means agriculture, in the field of agriculture. So the reforms or the changes that people or our government took in the field of agriculture, that is only known as agrarian reforms. Okay, So various agrarian reforms have been undertaken in our country to improve the state of agriculture in India. Okay, the first one is technical reforms, that means the changes that are done in the field of technology. The next is institutional reforms, that means the Indian government established various institutions that work for the betterment of the agriculture. The next is general reforms. Okay, some steps were taken by the, or some policies were introduced by the government to increase the agricultural production as well as to improve the conditions of the Indian farmers. The first, we are going to learn about technical reforms. So if we will talk about the technical reforms, so the use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides and insecticides, as well as use of various new machines in farming, better means of cultivation, and the scientific researches are also the part of technical reforms. Students, you do not believe that every seed is scientifically researched. Okay, people, there are many scientists, those who research on the plants. Okay, and they always think about that, how bolte hai na, that how they can improve the quality of particular plant, how they can increase the yield of the plant. Okay, now if we will talk about institutional reforms, the regulation of land holdings, that how much people can hold, how much area of land, tenancy, ठीक है, at what rent people has to work on the field, as well as cooperative farming. What is the meaning of cooperative farming? Cooperative farming is a group of people. Okay, if we will talk about Amul na, so that is a cooperative dairy cooperative, in which the people, those who are producing, they are only sharing the profit also. Okay, if we'll talk about a single farmer, so firstly what that farmer will do, that farmer will produce, and then he will transport all the goods or whatever production he is having, and now he will go to the market, or maybe he will talk to some agent and he sell his product to the agent. That suppose that he is selling the product to the agent at 2 rupees. Now that agent will get more profit and he will sell it in the market at 2.50 rupees. Okay, now from market, if you will go to the shop, they will put it for 3 rupees, and when it will come to us, the shopkeeper, maybe he also want to earn profit, so he will sell us on 3.5 rupees. So are you able to understood? Like this only, the farmer is the one who gets the least profit. So that is why some cooperative farming is done also. The establishment of biotech institutes that read about the biotechnology. Biotechnology matlab, with the help of technology, how we can develop in the field of bio means plants, how we will do the researches or study of the plants. ICAR, okay, ICAR is the Indian Council of Agriculture, that do the researches in the field of agriculture. FCI is the Food Corporation of India, and some general reforms were also there, like soft loans. The government used to provide loans to the farmers, credit facility, they used to give money to the farmers for growing crops, storage and market facilities, government provide them storage as well as market also, where farmers can sell their products. Price support policy, that means government used to decide the prices of the grains also or the vegetables also, so that everyone can get reliable prices, products at reliable prices. So I hope these agrarian reforms are clear to you. The next about FCI I have explained you. The FCI is Food Corporation of India. Okay, the what is FCI? FCI is Food Corporation of India. The Food Corporation of India was set up under the Food Corporation Act of 1964. Now, why the Food Corporation of India was set up? Effective price support operation for safeguarding the interest of the farmers. This organization works to safeguard, to work for the welfare of the farmers, okay, so that farmers can sell their goods at effective price and they get goods money for that. Distribution of food grains throughout the country for public distribution system like rations and all that now. So for that only, it is only responsible for distributing the grains so that it can reach to each and every person. Regulate market price to provide food grains to consumer at reliable prices. FCI is only responsible for deciding the prices of the crops so that everyone can get the product at reliable prices. Okay. Now let's see what we are going to learn about biotechnology. Some student has asked, I think Kunal has asked me about what is biotechnology. So students, what is biotechnology? That we will learn. Biotechnology is the application of scientific techniques to modify and improve plants. As you can see in the picture, scientists used to research about plants, okay, and they used to do practicals or researches that how they can improve the quality of the plant, how can a plant or a seed can yield or give more production, okay, as well as animals, microorganism, to enhance their values. About genes, you all are knowing now. So biotechnology allows for the manipulation, that means changes, synthesis and eventual creation of genes. Okay, biotechnology, like hybrid bolte hai na, that these plants are hybrid. Biotech scientists used to make two plants, and have you seen that white rose is there, red rose is there? Anyhow, they used to hybrid the plant. Okay, they mix their genes, they manipulate the genes of both the plants, and the flower that grow from that plant is a new one. It is a mixture of white and red. So people, by this only the scientists used to increase the yielding of the seeds. Genes are the encoded roadmap for an organism's development. We are also having genes, and we are having genes of our parents. So like that only, for mixing the or manipulating the genes of two plants, that is only the work of the biotechnology, or to modify the plant. Thus, by manipulating genes, agricultural biotechnology is able to engineer the plants they desire down to the roots. That means with the help of biotechnology, the engineers or the researchers are able to, okay, to produce the crops like they want. Now let's see the next one. Green revolution in India. About green and white revolution, I have already explained you in the previous part, but let's see once again. Green revolution was introduced when there was a government of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. She was the Prime Minister of India at that time. Okay. And the green revolution was applied from years 1967 to 1978. Okay, to increasing the agricultural production of India. At this stage, concern was on wheat and rice, and basically they focus on the increasing the production of wheat and rice. Dr. M.S. Swaminathan was the father of the Indian Revolution, and he only led, or he was the leader of the Green Revolution in India. Now, what were the methods used in Green Revolution for increasing the agricultural production? Multiple cropping system, that means intercropping that we have learned. In same field, many crops can be grown, as well as they followed crop rotation also. Seeds with superior genetics, they started introducing high yielding variety seeds, giving to the farmers at less prices or at free of cost, so that the agricultural production can increase. Proper irrigation system, they provide proper irrigation, or they work in the field for increasing the artificial measures of the use of irrigation system. Pesticides and fertilizers, okay, they introduce pesticides and fertilizers also, so that the farmers, those who are illiterate, they can also get about it. Modern machineries to the Indian farming, okay, the result of the methods, this was also that the people used new machineries in the Indian farming. Expansion of farming areas, okay, basically this program focused that more and more land of India should be used for cultivating, should be used for the purpose of growing. Now, what was the effect of Indian Green Revolution? Increase in production. By taking all these methods, the production of India increases. Capitalistic farming. Capitalistic farming का मतलब क्या हुआ? That large farmers or extensive based farming होने लगी. The farmers started putting capital, and they started producing more and selling it in the market. Rural employment. The people, those who are living in the rural areas, they get employment because many industries also set up near the farms only. So from that they also got the employment. Import of food grains, okay, more and more food grains are basically imported from different countries so that we can also grow that. Development of industries, as our agricultural production will increase, we will grow raw materials more, and as the production of raw material will increase, that industries will develop. So that only happen in the green revolution. Economic growth, as the agricultural production increase and industries also increase, so the economy of India also increases. Thinking of farmers, now people, the measures that were taken to educate the farmers, because there are some farmers in India those who are not that much literate. Now let's see the next one, that is a white revolution. As it is white revolution, it means the revolution that was took or that was started for expanding the yield of milk and milk products in India. Okay, so white revolution, I have earlier also explained you, white revolution is also known as Operation Flood. Okay, this who was the father of white revolution? Dr. Verghese Kurian. So white revolution has vastly improved the standard of milk production and processing of milk or milk products in India. Okay, world's biggest dairy development program it was. It made India the world's largest producer of milk. India became the world's largest producer after this Operation Flood. Made dairy farming India's self-sustainable rural employment generator. That means this dairy farming, since the after the white revolution, more people get employment in the field of dairy farming. Milk cooperatives such as Amul in Gujarat was set up. The setup of Amul was the result of this white revolution only. Milk cooperative, that means in that the people, those who rear cows, they are only the earner of the profits also. They, among those people, they will rear also, they will feed the cows also. Okay, they will take the milk also, they will only make the milk products also, and they will only sell it in the market also. So by this only the work and the profits are shared between the people only. Okay, no any third party is involved in the cooperatives, all of them cooperate with each other. So Dr. Verghese Kurian was known for the. This is all for today, children. I have explained you up to the white revolution. I thought that I will continue the case study also in this part, but then it will become very lengthy and it will be boring for you to watch the video. So up to this I have finished. The next part I will upload on the YouTube channel. I am not going to premiere it. That please watch it there only. The case study of Ladakh and Netherlands I will upload tomorrow. Just watch it after watching this video. Thank you, students.